Marcellus Shale. Its mere mention brings about an endless number of questions. Just what is it? How will it impact us? And what will it mean to our future? We talked with more than a dozen experts to separate facts from fiction.
It looks like it is being done in secret because you can't see what happens. It goes on under the ground, and people have a hard time understanding all the steps that we take as an industry to protect all these things that people are concerned about.
They don't see the 5 or 6 professional geologists in the trailer watching the data in real time with high quality sensors, another layer above them of people watching them watch the data, and the real time monitoring of pressures. They aren't seeing that.
Everyone uses electricity, everyone travels, everyone buys products that sustain your life as you know it, that derive from natural resources.
Marcellus was almost like we woke up one day and found gold in our backyard. We as a company and as an industry said, wow, we've got this incredible resource, a world-class resource, the second biggest natural gas field in the world.
Environmental questions are a prime topic when it comes to the drilling of Marcellus Shale. Brian Oram has spent his life's work monitoring the quality of water.
I first put myself as a citizen that just happens to know a little bit about groundwater. In many respects, water quality are issues and people don't understand what's in their water. We have existing problems right now with bacteria, arsenic, barium, many other inorganics and organics that are all baseline that had nothing to do with what's going on right now.
You're basically 1.5 miles underground. To think that you can crack a rock there and grow all the way to the surface is virtually impossible.
Sometimes what you see isn't what you get. For example, the movie Gasland misleads viewers on the causes of tap water being set on fire. The Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission said, Gasland incorrectly attributes several cases of water well contamination in Colorado to oil and gas development.
When you go back and do the history on that particular individual in that area, that methane's been in the groundwater forever. There's naturally occurring methane in some water in many of these areas, and quite frankly, a lot of people locally know it.
Some of the water quality issues appear to always be tied back to primarily natural water quality that they've never documented before.
Hydraulic fracturing or fracking of Marcellus wells and the makeup of chemicals used have raised questions. But Oram says the chemical debate needs to be put into the proper perspective.
Anytime we're moving concentrated chemicals, wherever they are, through our community, we need to be concerned. Whenever we have sites that store concentrated chemicals, we need to be concerned. Now, when you dilute it and pump it down a mile, ain't too concerned.
Technology and the desire for constant improvement of the process has led to significant changes in environmental protections. A multi-level cement and steel casing system provides multiple barriers of protection, while water used in the fracturing process is now recycled and reused at other locations.
So our technicians and engineers went to work and they figured out how to filter and recycle the water that comes up the wellbore and use it at the next fracturing job.
We recycle 100% of the water that flows back. All the water we use fracking those wells year in, year out, you're less than 0.5% of the total water used in West Virginia.
While some portray the industry of trying to hold back information, the reality is that those involved in the Marcellus Shale play are transparent in their operations.
We take scores of people through rig tours every month. They need to see for themselves what's happening. And when they see it, there's a new level of comfort that they have. You hear all of this wailing and gnashing of teeth on the internet, and then when you see it for yourself, you think, what's all this about? When people can see it for themselves, they really are put at ease.
A major environmental benefit of horizontal drilling is the actual size of the drill site.
Vertical wells, it's not uncommon to see them on 40-acre spacing. On a horizontal, you've essentially got one pad. That one pad is several acres in size, but the difference is one pad will drain probably somewhere between 600 and 800 acres. That's a 20-to-1 ratio.
Across the country, natural gas is being used to generate electricity due to its affordability and abundance. According to the Energy Information Administration, natural gas-fired electricity generation is expected to account for 80% of all added electricity generation capacity by 2035.
And I think there's a place for a lot of things, solar and hydro, but the fact of the matter is, alone, those things can't generate the amount of energy that's required to run this country.
The state of West Virginia is well aware of the benefits of the Marcellus shale play and has already moved to make sure all sides are being treated fairly.
As the activity continued to grow and expand, it was obvious throughout the legislature that we needed to have a meaningful and a fair regulatory framework in place to not only foster the growth and investment, but to also protect our communities. We did in fact pass comprehensive regulatory framework legislation and making West Virginia, in my view at least, ahead of the curve among many of our surrounding states in addressing this issue. Protections that are necessary for the environment, the surface owners, the royalty owners, the mineral owners, and the companies, and got all of the stakeholders together to hear them all out and also ensure that the groundwater and the surface was protected as well.
No one is debating the amount of natural gas in the Marcellus shale, a reserve so large that it could impact our entire nation. Steve Ibora is an industry leader in using natural gas to fuel our vehicles.
I got into this business actually after years of being involved with promoting new and emerging technologies. Natural gas vehicles is a great extension of that kind of work. People ask, when's it going to come to me? How's it affect me personally? Right now where we are is about 120,000 natural gas vehicles on U.S. roads, and we have more than 12 million worldwide. So I think it's important that as we move forward, we think about what our transportation choices do and what it means to our quality of life. This is what really is going to help drive and really solidify the consumer adoption of the technology, along with great economics.
Can you imagine? I mean, it would be $2 per gallon of gas equivalent at the pump, far fewer particulates and emissions, and all that money spent in this country.
Historically, natural gas has been a key player in West Virginia's economy. That history could be on the verge of repeating itself, thanks to the byproducts of the Marcellus wet gas.
In the last century, natural gas is what brought the glass industry into West Virginia. Morgantown, Fairmont, Clarksburg, Weston. As we go in the 21st century, I believe the economic opportunity will be in plastics.
You'll hear a lot about natural gas liquids, or NGLs. And natural gas liquids are comprised of things like ethane and propane and butane. West Virginia has a wonderful wet gas window up along the northern panhandle of the state that is rich in those natural gas liquids.
Those natural gas liquids open an entirely new industry involving a cracking facility.
What happens is this cracker takes ethane, this product that's produced with natural gas and a lot of the Marcellus, converts it to ethylene. And all that does is makes ethylene available to all these follow-on industries that can't use ethane as a raw feedstock.
If you look at the Kanawha Valley, if you look at the Ohio Valley, there are many plants that are located along those riverbanks. The feedstock to those plants basically faded away. It will now give the ethane in particular a feedstock back into the chemical industry.
There's a lot of other jobs and a lot of other opportunity that come from having the cracker in the Northeast, regardless of where it is.
The American Chemistry Council put out a study, and it projected what it called a hypothetical but realistic 25% increase in ethane production. And as a result of that, it found 17,000 new jobs inside the chemical industry and 395,000 new jobs in support of the chemical industry. A $32 billion increase in chemical production, all because of the cheap shale gas.
Job creation is already happening. Army veteran Nate Stone served 2 tours in Iraq. Upon his return, he could begin a career in petroleum engineering.
For me personally, it's great to have the stability, to be close to family, to work close to home, and to see the financial impact that the oil and gas industry brings.
I was born in West Virginia. I got out of college, had to move to California to take a job. We started a family, and my son was about 6 minutes old, and my wife said, "We've got to move back home." And I was lucky enough to find something with Chesapeake and get back here. Started getting calls from all my friends from school saying, "Hey, how do I get back home? How do I get involved in this?" Because everyone wants to be by where they grew up.
I run an office here in Morgantown with 27 employees. Several moved back into the area, including myself. 24 out of the 27 have ties to West Virginia.
Sometimes people just think about the production companies. They see the rig and they see the people working on the rig, and when they think about jobs, they just think about the rig hands. But really, a lot goes into getting that rig there. The site has to be prepared and built, so we have gravel haulers, sand haulers, water haulers.
The gentleman running the service that had 8 employees a year ago, he's got about 110 employees today.
These jobs continue to grow as expected. It's going to attract more people. It'll keep our young people home. It'll create jobs and opportunities for them, and also lead to real wealth creation for our state and its citizens.
The opportunities are far-reaching. It seems that everyone in some way will be impacted by developing this resource.
It could benefit so many people, and I don't just mean producers or vendors or royalty owners. How can we use this resource in a way that rejuvenates the chemical and manufacturing sector, in a way that changes the way that we drive our cars, in a way that lowers our home heating bills? None of that is worth it if water's not protected, but this can all be done safely and responsibly, and it's happening. The most important thing is to keep an open mind, and to listen, and to read, and to consider where you get your information, and to think about potential, to think about what this could really mean. Sometimes I think people, for whatever reason, expect the worst, or think about the worst case scenario instead of planning for abundance, instead of planning for good things to happen, because there's a lot of good things that can happen from this.